Mustii has already chosen as the Belgian representative back in August. And this past Tuesday, they also released his song Before the Party Is Over. The song is written by Mustii together with a decently experienced team that also wrote songs like Bridges, To l'Univers, or City Lights. Mustii will be singing his song Before the Party Is Over in the second semi final. Gabe, have you listened to the song? What do you think about it? What do you think about it?
Yes, I think this is a really good prospect for Belgium to reach into the upper ends of the scoreboard, potentially a top five even. I think
Okay.
we were talking about songs which are a bit calmer and have that build, maybe a little more ballady. This is more along that line, and I think it definitely filled the space that needed to be filled. The vocal is great. I love the kind of dark atmosphere of it, and the crescendo into the final minute feels so natural. So I think they've really done an excellent job. And I mean, that team, those songs you just quoted, clearly are really onto something because they've put together something really impressive. If I could have one tiny criticism, he maybe repeats the phrase before the party is over a few too many times in the last minute. But that does have, you know, without it getting too ostentatious, of course, that does create some space to maybe fix that problem and add some vocal acrobatics and so on. Add a little bit on that front. You've created the atmosphere for it, and it breaks up the repetition of the final section a little bit. So overall, I'm very impressed. It's not going to win Eurovision, but it's going to be Belgium's best result since at least 2017. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you say. I think this is a very good entry by Belgium. Like you can just hear in this studio version alone that his live performance will be incredible. His voice sounds like it's even capable of even more than what he's already showing in that little studio version. And I also wanted to point out that the final minute is basically him just repeating the line before the party is over. But I also think that every single time he says it, he sings it a little bit differently, and he really showcases his vocals and his range in such a way. And I think that can be very effective. We also already see a really good music video and an idea of where the broadcaster could go with his staging, perhaps. It already looks very good. Now, to be fair, Belgium is usually pretty good at making a good video. And then sometimes they don't necessarily nail it on the stage at Eurovision. And so I hope this time they will be able to nail it because I am very enthusiastic about this. It's the song together with France that I'm really having my eye on for one of the jury favorites to score highly there and perhaps get a really good result. Like you said, top five, if they stage it correctly, if Mustii nails the vocals, it can definitely be in the cards for Belgium. And yeah, honestly, it's a really, really good song, and I'm very happy that Belgium chose something like this again. Even though we had a great party banger last year, it's nice to have a great vocal in the competition as well again. So I'm very enthusiastic about Belgium.
Oops, sorry, I accidentally knocked my
Oh,
microphone onto mute. Yeah, no, I think I think you know the enthusiasm is well placed. I'm expecting a strong live performance. It is interesting how sometimes you can listen to a record and go, "This guy can clearly sing it live," and sometimes you
mhm.
can listen and go, "Oh, you know, this is a tough vocal. Is he going to be able to perform this?" But the way he sings, it feels controlled. It feels comfortable,
Yeah.
and so your confidence is kind of enhanced by that. Obviously, I imagine we'll have more clues in the coming weeks. I think jury winner is definitely on the cards. On the cards. A jury winner is definitely on the cards. It's been a
Good
long
job.
evening,
Yes.
okay? A jury win is definitely on the cards. I think is more likely to. I don't understand why people aren't putting more emphasis on that. Every time an up-tempo song gets picked, I see everyone going, "Oh, France this, France that, France, 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 France." This is a way stronger song than Mon Amour in basically every department. Obviously, the one thing that they're both amazing at is the vocals are out of this world.
Yeah.
This maybe will suffer slightly with the televote, but is, you know, it could be on for a jury win. That's why I think it could come top five.
Yeah.
And as such, I think you know we have to be optimistic about his chances. I'm really excited to see it live. I'm really curious to see what he does. There's space to change things in this song if he wishes. So Will we see anything different vocally? We could. I'd be excited to.
Yeah, and I think as well, in this music video, his passion that he puts into the song is already showing so much. And I think if you can put that passion on the stage as well, that often translates pretty well to the people at home because they'll be like, "Oh, this is really good. Like this is what he is good at." And ballads don't always do terribly with the televote, of course. And
Mm.
usually somebody sees that this is what they're doing, this is their good craft, then that will also very much translate into televote points. So I don't think it's necessarily going to perform incredibly badly at a televote, even though a lot of songs are coming from the semifinals, which have televote only.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's gonna do amazingly, and I, as well, cannot wait to see it being performed live. I expect some smoke, I expect some dark lighting, I expect some good camera angles, and a lot of passion, really, from Mustii. And I can't wait to hear him in the pre-parties as well, because I think that could be a really nice moment too.
Yeah, I think I should be clear when I mean stuff. When I say suffer with the televote, I'm talking like
Mm.
eighth, ninth. I'm not, so
Yeah, okay.
like what I'm saying is I think if we're in a scenario where because we're in a very even edition at the moment, where if we're in a scenario where this song, for example, comes first or second in the jury vote, but ninth with the televote, and someone comes
Mhm.
fourth with both, then that song is going to leapfrog this one. That's what I mean by suffering the suffering the televote. I think obviously it's a dead cert qualifier. I think you'll be hard pressed to produce a better, ballad, especially like commercially speaking, out of this edition. I think it clears. Obviously Veronica is more of a performance song than
Yeah.
a radio play song. I think the same is true over Mon Amour. That will give it an advantage as well. And if we're thinking about in the run up to the contest, what songs are going to get played on the radio internationally, this is probably one of them. So, like I say, I mean, do I think it's going to win? No. Do I think it's going to do as well with the televote as it will with the jury? Also, no. Could it come top 5? I think it's very likely. So, I am optimistic. I'm just cautiously optimistic at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I basically agree with that statement as well. Jeremy is saying, I think Belgium can be a jury winner in the final if the live vocals are good. It's basically what we've been saying so far, to be honest. The last minute of the song could be so epic if he slays the vocals. What do you guys think about that? Well, I think we basically covered all of that already so far, because that's what we've been most enthusiastic about, to hear his live vocals and see that final minute be performed. I think that could be really epic. Then we have Euro Die saying, I'm getting a Sheldon Riley feeling about Mustii. He'll storm the semi-final, but come about 15th in the final. Do you feel something similar?
No.
Me neither.
I gotta say, yeah, no, I disagree with you on this one, Di. I think the thing we got to remember with Sheldon Riley is he got absolutely murdered by being next to Sam Ryder,
Mhm.
among other things. I think that song was nowhere near as strong as this. I think it didn't feel as coherent. It did that really annoying thing, which I really don't like when they do it in ballads, where you have this big build up and then it all just drops away.
Yeah.
You've built all this
Oh, I
energy and
hate
then you
it
lost
too.
it. And then you go all the
Yeah.
way back to full energy again. Like that song had a lot of problems that this one doesn't. And
Yeah.
as much as I really understand the sort of the mask identity and stuff with Sheldon as well, a really important thing with Eurovision is eye contact and interacting with the camera. That prevented him from doing that. And as a result,
Mhm.
you're kind of stuck. Natalie points out as well, he had Cornelia Jacobs in his neighborhood as well. It's not exactly the easiest
Yeah.
pair of songs to be competing against.
No, definitely not. And to be honest, I think the songs, like the repetition of Sheldon's song, was a lot more in your face and maybe a little bit more annoying, because that it was in every chorus where he repeated the same words, and with this, it really builds from something small, and then towards the ending, it like builds and builds and builds, and then there's the repetition, but also the more epic feeling to the song. So I'm not sure if you can really compare the two very well. Maybe they do something with stairs, though. I wouldn't advise it, but hey, maybe.
I'm generally not a fan of
um,
stairs in Eurovision. So
oh,
I
me
hope
neither.
they leave them at home this time.
Yeah. Verneri is asking, can Mustii win his semi-final? I think this is a bit more tough for him because the semi-finals are now, of course, televote only since last year, and it is in a semi-final where you also have songs like the Netherlands. We haven't heard it yet, but it's likely to be a very out there song. You have Estonia there, you have Norway there, who likely do very well with a televote. So I'm not sure if he's going to win the semifinal. I think it's more likely that he won't, and then just outperforms his semifinal performance by doing well in the juries in the grand final. What do you think?
I agree. I don't think he's going to win the semi-final. I think probably, if I had to say now, out of all the songs we have, Estonia is the most televote friendly in that semi, but I suspect the
Yeah,
Netherlands will come close. There's question marks there, of course, and we should put an asterisk on this. Is that we really don't know what Estonia will look like with a budget, and if they get the
true.
vocals fully together and everything, so that could end up in whole kind of different ways. I also think that out of that semi-final, we shouldn't forget Gorta are at Eurovision on the basis of a strong televote showing. I
Mm.
know that that there will be a segment of people who hate it and don't get it. There'll be a big segment of people who really love it and vote for it. I think they have more of a potential. We have more songs coming. I mean, we have Marina Sati in that semi-final. We have
Yeah,
things like Pedestal by Aiko. Again, if she gets it together, could be really, really good. I mean, Megara are going to pick up quite a few points, I think, in that semi-final because they're going to be visually distinctive. The vocals will be good. It has that really memorable bridge and all of that. There's a lot of things that he's competing against here, and there's still more to come. So I would say it's unlikely at the moment. Could he? Yes. Will he? Probably not.
I don't think so either. No, there's just too much competition in that semifinal. Although the other semifinal might be arguably stronger based on countries' merits, but the
Oh,
songs, the
it's
type of
it's
songs that
death.
have come out.
That
Yeah, oh no,
semi
100%.
it's ridiculous. Like, I genuinely can't believe you have a first half now where you have Rintin Tagidim, Liar, Doomsday Blue, Luktelk, The Tower, and Teresa and Maria. You still have Serbia to come. Like, between that, you're going to produce the most terrifying half of a semi-final, like, in the history of Eurovision.
Yeah.
It's, and then
Yeah,
it's
I put
hilarious
it on
because then you...
screen. It's
Sorry, go on.
I put it on screen. These are the songs in semifinal one at the moment that are known. I put the one from Cyprus in yellow, in a little yellow box because it's not out yet, of course. But yeah, this looks like it's already so many out there televote type songs. Like it'll be a tough one.
Yeah, it is funny though. If you look at that, you look at the second half of the semi-final, and no
Mhm.
offense to Tally and Natalia Barbu, but they're not exactly stacking up to Look Telk and Teresa and Maria, are they? Like,
Don't
I think
underestimate Moldova.
it starts obviously never underestimate Moldova, but like it starts strong and then it does kind of climax a little earlier than we'd
Mhm.
hope for. Um, yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I'm personally terrified. I think we're going to end up in a position where a lot of people are going to be losing favorites in that semi because something's
Definitely.
got to give. There's going to be too many songs for them all to qualify.
Yeah. I have another question from Antoine Madelon. I could actually see it doing pretty well in the televote if it draws second half because the final minute is that impactful. I was actually thinking about this as well. It is one of those songs that could maybe rely a lot on the running order, and if it's getting a favorable first half or second half. Like if it's first half, I'm not sure if they're going to push it towards the latter half of that first half. And if it gets second half, it doesn't really matter. You're in the second half. It's going to be a good running order spot. And if it gets first half, maybe it gets to be in the show a bit too early to do incredibly well with the televote. I don't know. That could be a little bit of a danger for an incredible finish for Belgium. What do you think?
I think you could definitely end up with if this song performs fourth or fifth, it's in trouble.
Yeah.
For the reasons you just outlined. I think at the same time, especially if it stays as high in the odds as it is, I don't think the producers are going to really heavily skew it. Really heavily screw it. I don't think if it comes into the contest and it's fourth or fifth in the betting odds, they're going to put it ninth or 10th if it's in the first half earliest. I don't think it would be the last song before the end of the half, but we got to remember is that the producers are very careful. Clearly, I mean, although they've never publicly said what it is they do, they clearly avoid giving favorites bad spots for this reason. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. I do think it'll be impactful. Basically, as long as it's after 7th or 8th, all will be well. So I would say that you're going to get that impact no matter what. It's about how much it, how much it sticks with people on the night. And I could be wrong. I just think that there'll be other things that stick with people more.
I also don't think it is at this moment seen as one of the big favorites, and it's going to depend on how people will pick up on it running up towards Eurovision, because like the pre-parties are going to be so important for Belgium, I think, because I think that's where he can really impress a lot of people. And then, people start talking about it and it gets some traction, and then more people start talking about it. And that's how sometimes you can get so much momentum that you get a good running order slot, and then you can do well at Eurovision. Like there's so many factors besides just the song and the staging, like doing well with the press and doing well at pre-parties. They're all important. And Belgium can be a very big beneficiary from that.
Yeah, I think the information, obviously the information war is sort of more important than ever now. I mean, it really feels, if you take a perfect example of this, Mia and Dion, is that they felt dead on arrival by the time you got to Eurovision, because the pre-party season was so brutal for them. I have to say, not through any fault of their own. I think a lot of blame goes to the broadcaster and goes to Duncan Lawrence, who for long periods of time, it felt like he downed tools and left them to, deal with the pressure by themselves. That kind of thing. You arrive at Eurovision and the entire narrative is, oh, their vocals always been really shaky. Will they even be able to sing the song? Like, what you end up with when the bar is set that low, when you've had to make so many changes because of all of these problems, you end up in a position where the confidence isn't projected on stage. People watch the performance with a nervousness, being like, it feels like this could go wrong at any moment. You've already lost in that situation, because even if you do well, they're like, oh, well, they did all right, surprisingly. It's not a good, you don't want the assumed position to be bad. On the flip side, you have songs where they go and do the pre-parties or whatever, and everyone loves them, and then they come to rehearsals and it's way better than expected, and it can go in the complete opposite direction. So you can make a late charge in that way now. He is 5th in the odds as we are, so I don't think he has to really push it that far. If he stays in the top 5, top 6 in the odds, they're not going to really mess him about, I would suspect. Then again, you never know.
I was not aware he was that high up.
Yeah, no, we've got at the moment we've got him in 5th, and then we've got another song we'll come on to in the top 5 as well. Ukraine and Italy in the top positions as well.